What if I told you that one of Africa's most extraordinary forgotten kingdoms is hidden in plain sight? Not beneath the ground, not lost beneath the ocean, but high above the forests of Nigeria. For hundreds of years, an entire community lived on top of a mountain. They built homes, markets, palaces, shrines, and stone pathways that still survive today. Yet millions of people have never heard their story. How did thousands of people manage to live so high above the valley? What forced them to build an entire kingdom among the rocks? And why was this remarkable place eventually abandoned? Some of history's greatest discoveries aren't found in famous museums or written in school textbooks. They remain hidden in places that most people pass without ever knowing what came before. Welcome to Inside Our World, where we uncover the hidden places, forgotten civilizations, extraordinary discoveries, and true stories that continue to shape our world. Today, we climb into the clouds to uncover the remarkable story of Idanre Hills, one of Nigeria's greatest hidden wonders. Long before modern roads reached these mountains, every journey to the ancient kingdom of Idanre began the same way, on foot. Hidden among the granite hills of present-day Ondo State, the only path to the summit was a steep staircase carved into the mountainside. Every child, elder, trader, messenger, and king climbed these same stone steps. For generations, these steps were more than a road. They connected families to their homes, merchants to the marketplace, worshippers to sacred shrines, and leaders to the heart of a thriving kingdom. Each step carried a story. Every bend in the path brought travelers closer to a community unlike any other in West Africa. Today, those ancient steps still remain, inviting visitors to follow the same remarkable journey taken by thousands of people centuries ago. When travelers finally reached the summit, they weren't greeted by an empty mountaintop. They arrived at a thriving kingdom that had adapted to life high above the forests below. Stone houses stood among the massive granite rocks, carefully built to blend with the landscape. Families raised children here, leaders governed the community, craftsmen practiced their trades, and traditions were passed from one generation to the next. Life on the mountain demanded determination. Every basket of food, every pot of water, every building material had to be carried up the same steep path that visitors climb today. Yet, despite the challenges, the people of Idanre transformed this isolated mountain into a prosperous home. They built a community that endured for centuries, protected by nature and united by a shared way of life. Standing here today, it is hard to imagine that this peaceful mountaintop was once one of the most remarkable kingdoms in West Africa. Living on top of a mountain was never the easiest choice. It was a decision made out of necessity. Centuries ago, many communities across the region faced repeated attacks from rival groups seeking land, food, and control. Villages built on open ground were often the first to suffer. The people of Idanre believed the mountain offered something no ordinary settlement could provide: time. From the summit, they could see approaching danger long before it reached their homes. The steep stone paths, towering granite cliffs, and narrow entrances turned the mountain itself into a natural fortress. Every climb became more difficult for an invading force, giving the people precious moments to protect their families. What looked like an impossible place to live became one of the safest places they could call home. Building a kingdom on top of a mountain was only the beginning. Keeping it alive for generations was the real challenge. Every drop of water mattered. Every harvest had to be carefully planned. Food, firewood, and supplies all had to be carried up the mountain by hand. Yet the people of Idanre refused to let the mountain defeat them. They developed systems that allowed families to live comfortably among the granite peaks. Rainwater was carefully collected. Food was preserved for difficult seasons. And every part of the settlement was designed to make the best use of the limited space available to them. Nothing was wasted. Every resource was valued. Over time, the mountain became more than a place of safety. It became a place where determination, skill, and community allowed an entire kingdom to flourish against incredible odds. A kingdom is remembered not only for where its people lived, but for how they lived. The people of Idanre built a society where leadership, family, tradition, and community worked together. Elders guided important decisions, disputes were settled peacefully, and knowledge was passed from one generation to the next through stories, customs, and daily life. Their spiritual beliefs shaped the rhythm of the community. Sacred places were respected. Important ceremonies brought people together, and every celebration strengthened the bond between the people and the mountain they called home. Children grew up learning the values of hard work, respect, and responsibility. Every generation inherited not only the mountain itself, but also the traditions that kept the kingdom united for centuries. It was this shared identity that transformed a remote mountaintop into a thriving civilization, remembered long after its people had left. For centuries, the mountain had protected the people of Idanre. But no kingdom remains unchanged forever. As the region became more peaceful and new opportunities emerged in the valley below, life on the mountain slowly became more difficult than necessary. Every journey for food, water, trade, and farming still required the long climb. What had once been their greatest protection was now becoming their greatest challenge. Generation after generation, more families began moving down the mountain in search of easier access to fertile land, growing communities, and a different future. It was not a sudden departure. It happened gradually over many years, until the homes that had echoed with laughter and daily life slowly fell silent. The kingdom above the clouds was no longer abandoned because it had failed. It was left behind because history had changed. Although the people eventually left the mountain, they never left their history behind. The ancient kingdom remained standing, quietly watching over the valleys below as generation after generation remembered the stories of their ancestors. Over time, historians, archaeologists, and travelers began to recognize the extraordinary importance of Idanre Hills. They discovered that these mountains were far more than beautiful scenery. They were the remains of one of Nigeria's most remarkable historical settlements. Today, visitors from across Nigeria and around the world climb the same ancient steps once walked by kings, elders, traders, and families centuries ago. Every stone, every pathway, and every ruined home tells the story of a people whose determination transformed a mountain into a thriving kingdom. What was once a place built for survival has become one of Africa's greatest symbols of history, culture, and human resilience.
Some places are remembered because of the battles that were fought there. Others are remembered because of the people who refused to give up. Idanre Hills is more than a mountain. It is proof that courage, determination, and unity can transform even the most challenging landscape into a place where thousands of people could live, grow, and build a lasting civilization. Although the voices that once filled these stone pathways have long fallen silent, their story continues to echo through every granite cliff, every ancient foundation, and every step leading toward the summit. Today, Idanre Hills stands as one of Nigeria's greatest historical treasures, reminding us that some of the world's most extraordinary places remain hidden in plain sight, waiting for those willing to discover them. Because history is not only found in books, sometimes it is written at the top of a mountain. And somewhere in the world, another forgotten story is still waiting to be uncovered.